Welcome to the Sabrina Show. I'm your host, Sabrina. Breaking down stigmas around relationships, women in the food industry, and body confidence. I spoke with the lovely Juslena from Nashtaa Cafe about all of that and more. Enjoy. Welcome, Juslena, to the Sabrina Show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm going to dive right in. I'm so proud of you because recently you was part of this fantastic, bold and beautiful campaign. I had the honor of watching you do your thing on stage. I was that fangirling on the side, shouting, screaming, and you looked amazing. How was that experience for you?
It was quite a surreal experience. First of all, thank you for having me here. And the experience was pretty surreal because I would never expect for myself to do that. I've never had that confidence to kind of even go there or be proud of my body. So for me, it was quite a new experience. To be honest, before I got on that stage, I had massive anxiety, I was literally, I probably have had a panic attack. Yeah. I was literally about to have tears in my eyes, but I did it. And I was so proud. And after that, it was easy because I did it 3 times. But the first initial was pretty tough. But it was just so good to actually get out there and show people that it's okay to be however you are and the way you look, and with all the other amazing ladies we had on there. So it was really good.
You look beautiful. I'm not going to lie. I was so proud of you. Obviously, anyone that's starting something brand new, you're going to be a bag of nerves. You're going to have fear. I have fear doing this, you know. Yeah. But I know that fear stems from something. Mm-hmm. Where does that anxiety and fear come from for you?
I think for me it comes from, so obviously as a child, I'm quite tall, as you know, and as a child I've always been quite tall. I've had broader shoulders, so compared to other girls, so it wasn't really normal in our society or culture. People did kind of make comments and they would look down. So as a child I got that quite a lot, and from family members or non-family members, friends, family friends or whatever. So it was always there, and so I think that's where not having the confidence came from, and that's where the anxiety of, oh my god, what are people going to say, what they're going to do, looking at me, everyone's going to be looking at me and judging me, and that's always been there in my head, from the youngest age. Probably I was about 7 or 8. From what I remember, that I've had those thoughts, and I've just kind of tried to blend myself in the background, not kind of put myself out there at all. Whereas I think with Nashtaa, what's happened is I've kind of had to be out there, and it's kind of forced me to be more kind of in front of people, and that's me coming out my comfort zone massively. And I think having all that anxiety and I had it as a young child, then as I grew up, teenager, same sort of thing. You experience people at school and everything like that. And then, university and all that. And then when I got married, I had that with obviously in-laws side as well. So it was continuous through my life.
It's amazing. And I think a lot of people don't realise that childhood trauma is a thing. How we are spoken to when we're younger, how we're treated really affects us and stays with us. And I think as time progresses, we learn to bury that. And then all of a sudden, you're an adult, you have your own children, and things start bubbling, What was, because listening to how you speak about yourself, how you felt about yourself, it stemmed from somewhere. What was that like for you in terms of your childhood?
So it stemmed from just absorbing all this stuff from other people, commenting on how I look or the way I should look. Because I've got 2 other sisters, and my middle one, she is slimmer. She's more normal, the normal kind of thing. Petite, not broad shoulders like me, normal height and stuff. Because that was another thing. My height, I was so tall. People would make comments about that. So I think it's always that comparison, having that comparison rather than having your individuality. It's more about comparing you to the next person, or and then you feel a bit because I don't look like that. As a child, you don't know any better, so you think, okay, I don't look like that. Maybe that's why people don't like me, or that's why maybe, they don't treat me the same way, or, and that kind of, that does develop as you get older. And what was happening to me was, it was self-acceptance. So, a few years ago, after I had my third child, I had postnatal depression, and I had it from my second, but I kind of sort of swept it under the carpet. I spoke to the doctor, and they just said, just do some mindfulness exercises. And then I had my third. Then it got really bad. And
postnatal depression is a thing. Like, even with me, I suffered it with both of my children.
Yeah.
And because I feel like a lot of people don't discuss it now, actually people do. Like, I'm not going to lie, people do. They speak up about it. We have so many advocates online. But going back, even just a few years, you was almost afraid.
Yeah.
As Asian women, no one says to us, this could happen.
Yeah.
We're just told, oh, you're going to have this baby. It's going to be a Pampers commercial. You're going to hold your baby.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful. And that's it. But no one tells the reality of, actually, you're going to be sleep deprived. You're going to be watching CBBS 24/7. And especially if you're someone that's a 9-to-5 person, or you're running your own business, you're ready for that hustle bustle. Now all of a sudden you have to retreat in your home. It's hard.
Yeah, because you do lose yourself a little bit as well. And I think that, and also I think with our culture, I feel like if you have like mental health, and even though it's getting better, but if you have any issues like that, it's like, oh my God, like, what's wrong with you? We dealt with it. We just got on with it. Like, why do you have to see a therapist? Or why do you have to say something to the doctor? Like, on your form you fill in after you've had the baby, I was completely honest. Whereas I know other people just lie.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling better. Or they will underplay how they feel. And it is because it was so like looked down upon in our society that if you need help. I remember when I went to see a therapist, one of my family members said to me that, oh, like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need it. Like, everyone's done it. Everyone's had kids. Everyone's done it. Why are you seeing a therapist? But what it was when you have postnatal depression, with me particularly, it was other issues that stemmed over my whole life. That after the baby, it's come out. So when I had, the therapy with the NHS, which was actually really good, they really helped me. And I think another fear people have is that, oh my God, they might take my child away, or they might think I'm an unfit mother, so I can't really say that, oh my God, I'm like this, or I feel like this, because they're scared. And
to be fair, in our culture, like, I don't want to keep saying our culture, but we're never have that freedom to talk as young girls and as women. It's always like, shh, know your place.
Yeah.
Only speak when being spoken to. Now all of a sudden we're feeling all these things, and because we haven't had that background experience of being able to voice our concerns, it's hard.
Yeah.
And look at what you're talking about. You're talking about your own children. How are you supposed to be so upfront and honest about your feelings?
And ask for help.
Yeah.
Because we're just supposed to get on with it. Because in my mind, it was, well, my mum's done it, my mother-in-law, everyone's done it. Like, why am I struggling? Or why am I feeling like this, or whatever? But what it was it, when it came down to it, when I went for my therapy, it was all about self-acceptance. So all my issues stemmed from me not accepting myself because I felt others hadn't accepted me as a person. So that was a massive thing with me. And then even getting married, I wasn't accepted, because of caste and other issues. I was never accepted. So it just kept stemming and getting bigger and bigger. And, it's really hard, to be honest, because even to this day, there's family members on my in-law side which still don't accept me, like immediate members which don't accept me, and it's hard because, as in now I've realised the issue's not with me, it's with them. But at that time, you don't. And I think for a good 12 years, I thought it was me. Like, oh my God, it's the way I look. Oh my God, it's the way I am. What have I done? I try my best. I do everything, but it's not good enough.
But you do realise you're not the only one in that boat. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like when we are going through certain issues where we're not feeling accepted, or we have certain interactions with family members, we feel like we're the only one dealing with that. Honey, there's skeletons in everyone's closet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true.
There's skeletons in everyone's closet. Everyone is going through something. And I really want to point that out, that you are not alone. We all have stuff going on. Just some of us are brave enough to share it. Yeah. And a lot of us haven't found our voices yet.
Yeah, and even with me finding my voice, it's taken a lot of time, and a lot of inner work. I've had a lot of people come in my life through my journey with Nashtaa, and I've taken their help to kind of help myself get over these issues or the traumas that you suffer as a child, you know, which impacts your daily life now. It's taken a lot of work, and I'm still working on myself. No one's ever going to be perfect, and you know, it's a work in progress still.
100%. I feel like a lot of people may have some misconceptions of you. I think I said this to you earlier when I'm like, that's Juslena from Nashtaa. She's killing it. She's been doing what she's been doing. Your business has recently hit 2-year milestone. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And a lot of people can be like, wow, like, she's just like us. I think after this conversation, they'll be like, she's just like us. She's just vulnerable like us. And she goes through the same things. And I think that's really refreshing to see.
Yeah.
You're at this point where you are able to talk about your vulnerabilities because you've done the inner work. Yeah. What has that inner work look like for you? What do you do for yourself to ensure that you're able to speak about things so openly?
So I do a lot of healing work. So I go to healing circles, and I do, you know, I have a therapist as well. Meditation. I try and meditate every night before I go to bed, like just 5 minutes, but it gives you a better kind of quality of sleep. And I think it's also just like, it's so important to kind of work on those like issues. Even journaling is massive as well. So doing that here and there as well. You know, I wish I could do that every day, but I don't get to.
You've done the inner work. That's evident because how you are so open and honest about your journey. I want to talk a little bit about how you have implemented this at home with your little ones to ensure that what has happened with you and maybe the way in which people have spoken to you or treated you for your insecurities, what are you doing differently at home in terms of your parenting?
So with my daughter especially, I don't feel, because she's tall, obviously you're going to be tall, me and my husband are both tall. She's got bigger feet than normal. Well, I shouldn't even say normal, but as in she has got a lot bigger feet. And so I don't want her ever thinking that's not normal. So I never make any sort of comment towards her the way she is or whatever. I let her be, let her do what she wants to do, wear what she wants to wear. You know, I might get her some extra, like some bigger sizes because she's taller and everything, but I don't make it ever feel like that. And if she does ask me, Mama, why are you getting me this size? I'm like, well, it's because you're taller, so it's better fit, or the sizes aren't right in the shops. I blame the shops.
Blame the shop. You know what? I'm not going to lie yet. Some of these shops, they really take the piss.
They do.
How can I be a size 12 in one shop and then a size 16 in the other? Like, get it right.
There's no kind of universal.
You can't.
Size.
You just have to go with what fits you best.
And each shop is different, you know, and like. And that's the thing what I explained to her. And I said, oh, every shop's different. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, kind of thing. So I never want her to think that, okay, why am I taller? Or why are my feet bigger than others? Or how am I, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I never like comment on what she's eating or what she's not eating. Like, obviously we want them to eat fruit and veg. So I do say about that. But I don't say that, oh, you know, you're going to get fat or, you know, this, that and the other. Whereas, you know, some people are like that. Whereas I'm very conscious of that kind of side of it.
Yeah. How you communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the boys, you know, same sort of thing, you know, same sort of thing, them being taller and obviously they have larger feet.
Can I just say big up the tall girls? Because I'm tall as well.
Yeah.
And you are as well. So it is what it is, you know?
Exactly. And my thing was when I was younger, it was, you're not going to find a boy. You're not going to be able to find someone who's going to be like, you know, tall enough for you. The boys are all short, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff, right? But now boys are tall too. So it's not an issue. But yeah, it was just that kind of, that generation's mentality. Like, it wasn't even our parents, it was the one above. Like, they had that mentality that, oh, there's not going to be anyone like, you know, tall enough or whatever, and you should be an average height, you shouldn't be that height, you know. So that's why I kind of make sure I don't, you know, make the kids feel any different. And you know, and then when it comes to like, obviously they fight so much, so you do kind of shout here and there, but it's not like, you know, I try not to comment or say stuff about them. So it's about the generic kind of, you know, situation, but not about themselves. So it's not personal. I think that's when it gets like traumatic, when you start picking on stuff personally with children. Because like, oh, you know, you're like this or you're like this. You know, I try not to do that.
It's really hard though. Like, I'm not going to lie. I try to be as mindful as I can. Like when they're beating the crap out of each other, and I just want to scream and grab them both. And I think to myself, no, don't do what the past generations will do. Handle this. I'm like, boys, let's settle down. Let's talk about it. It can be really frustrating.
Oh no, I don't do that. I still like, obviously, like, what are you doing? But I'm trying. I'm saying sometimes it's the words.
Yes,
it's the words that you use, right? So it's, you know, I can still tell them off, but not have to make them feel personally like there's something wrong with them, or personally, like, you know, there's certain things they do which do irritate me or do kind of get on my nerves, but I try not to. It's hard though, like, obviously, being honest, you know, it's hard to always kind of keep that restraint, but I try to be as mindful as I can. I
think we all try to strive to be mindful parents, but you're a business owner, you're a mum, you're a wife, you wear tons of different hats. You're tired. I'm tired. I'm not going to lie. You know,
and they test your patience.
And they test your patience, and it's hard to kind of strive for that greatness all the time.
It is.
But how do you juggle it all?
It's tough. But what I would say is that having a great support system is really important. So my husband does, he takes on a lot as well, of responsibility with the kids. He does the drop-offs in the morning and I do the pickups. So I make sure I'm there for every pickup. Sometimes, rare occasion, if I've got something on or whatever, I won't make it.
Yeah.
And same as him, so it's vice versa. But we balance it. So, and I always now make sure I'm there for like dinner time. Most of the time I'm there for bedtime as well. So I'm kind of, and now I've even got to the point where before, weekends were kind of taken up, and now I'm there on the weekends as well. So I feel like I'm pretty much a full-time mum, as well as, you know, having the business and doing all the other things. And it's tough. It's hard, really hard. And
but has it always been like that?
No.
Yeah, so tell me the truth, girl. Lay it out. Tell me the truth. Let's not sugarcoat it for people and pretend you got all your shit together.
No, this is the point I've got to now. But it's been a long 2-year struggle, because at the beginning, when I opened Nashtaa, it was kind of that kind of working every day, day in, day out. So my husband would drop me to work to Nashtaa because on the way, and then drop the kids to school. I'd be there all day, but then we were only open till 2:30. So then it would be a situation like I would finish at 2:30, pick the kids up and home. That's it, we're done. And weekends, though, every single weekend I would be there. I would have to be there every weekend from morning to the afternoon. So it was a 7-day thing. 7 days a week I was there.
Relentless.
It was relentless. And then I got management and stuff. But even then, when you have management or staff, trusting them is really tough. And I know a lot of business owners suffer with it. Like, they struggle with this because letting go of your baby, isn't it, really? It is hard. And you always have that thing inside, like, are they going to do it like me? Are they going to perform like me? Your name is, you know. But one thing I've learned is you have to let go. So some other business people have told me, experienced business people, that you have to always accept that it'll be either 80 to 90%. And you have to be okay with that. So I think I'm at that point now where, okay, I can't be so like, okay, it has to be 100% all the time, because it's never going to be.
No.
Right? So you have to let go, give and take that 10, 20%. As long as I get my 80 to 90%, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've kind of come to now, which is why it's kind of helped me balance my life better. Otherwise, before I was obsessive. I would literally be like, no, this needs to be like this. No, I have to be there. Every single thing, I have to be there. I have to be at this function. I have to be any party we had. I had to be there.
You must have been exhausted, burnt out.
Yeah, I was burnt out. It was exactly that, burnt out. And then it got to a point. One day I was just like bedridden. I was in bed. I couldn't get out for like 3-4 days.
Wow.
Because it was relentless 7 days a week working for like a good 10 months.
And obviously, with anyone starting a brand new business, you feel like you have to be there 24/7. You feel like you have to be working at 24/7. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you are running your own business, how many things you are doing, 9 people, 10 people's roles. You are the advertiser, you are the marketer, you are, in your case, you're, you know, serving food, you're managing, you're doing so many different things.
You won't believe it. Even on the first few months, I was so naive that I actually had a reservations book, of an actual physical book, and I used to take phone calls till probably about 11 o'clock at night, midnight, taking phone calls for bookings at Nashtaa, and I'd write them down. I didn't have an open table then. I didn't have any of that because it was quite expensive. They literally charge an arm and a leg. And it was one of those things where I would physically take the phone calls every night and have, so it'd be constant. It would be constant. So even when I got home, it'd be phone calls. We're going to book a table, which is amazing that, you know, it was there, but it was that labor intensive because I didn't know what I was just like, it was a cafe. I just thought, okay, yeah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it got pretty mad pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So,
I think, listening to your backstory, listening to everything that you've been through, a lot of people could have said, wah, 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 I went through this. This has happened to me. I feel like this about myself. That's it. I'm just going to sit on my hands. But you turned all of that and created something so gorgeous. Who doesn't know about Nashtaa? And so the fact that you've only been around 2 years, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Well done. You've worked super, super hard. You're everywhere anyway. I see your booty on Instagram all the time. And I love it.
I'm your favourite.
Yeah.
Your favourites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was, I want to know, like, the drive and passion behind Nashtaa. What has made you say, you know what, doesn't matter how I feel about myself, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to bloody just dive in.
I think it was just, I just went for it. I just thought this is an opportunity. And I think the biggest thing which I did was when I quit my job. So I was on furlough and, and then kind of maternity leave kind of on that kind of at the moment after my third one. And then obviously COVID happened. I got this opportunity. So during lockdown, I worked on like recipes. I worked on a menu. I worked on branding. I did my logo, brand story, everything. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kind of, I don't know, I met people along the way. And I kind of, I've got a vision board as well, which I had Nashtaa on the vision board. Not as Nashtaa, but it was like a floral cafe.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know if it's like that was manifest. I basically manifested it.
You did.
Guess, And I know people are like, oh, that's so woo, that's so like whatever. Yeah. But I do believe in it. I actually do, because I literally was thinking it every day, eating it every day, drinking it. Like literally it was in my mind constantly. I'm doing this. Oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I was just like so focused. I don't even know like what came over me. I think it's because when I opened and then my work were like, okay, you can come back to work now. And I was like, oh, like, can I do this? At first I was like, okay, I can do both. I tried it and it was like not happening because it was me and 2 other staff running the floor and literally 2 people in the kitchen. That's my bare minimum team. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do both. So I just took the risk, of security of a job, pay, everything. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to quit. And I'm going to put my all in this. And I think that's when it kind of changed for me, because I was so driven and focused to make it work that I was dedicated.
That's really scary.
I know, it is.
Like, that's really scary to say, you know what, I'm going to give up my full-time income. We all got bills, let's not lie. We've all got bills, we've got responsibility, you've got little ones that are relying on you. Okay, I'm going to stop what I'm going to do and I'm going to put my full focus into this. And luckily for you, worked out. For a lot of people out there, it doesn't work out and they go back to their 9 to 5, which is totally fine. At least you tried it.
And to be honest, that's the conversation I had with my husband. He said, look, what's the worst case scenario? You have to go back to work. It's fine, you can get a job. So it was kind of that mentality that, okay, that's true. Worst case scenario, I will do that. So it was kind of on that. And then I had my family supporting me in terms of with the kids and everything. So I had a lot of people around me to help out and kind of ease the pressure at the beginning a lot. And bless my 2 sisters, they came in as like waitresses to help me. My sister was like a HR person as well. Like they just all pulled in and really helped out. So it was really nice of everybody to help me out in those beginning months. And I think it was just all come together and me just so focused and driven that it just became a success.
I'm assuming, I know that you're saying that you're focused and driven and that's what pushed you, but did you know every step or was you winging it?
I was winging it, totally winging it. Good. I did not know every step. No way. I think anyone in their first business, this is my first business, never knows every single step what they're doing. And I think with me, it was just like, okay, this is happening now. Okay, this is happening. Like, I didn't have a clue about where I was going and what I was, like I said to you about the reservations book. I mean, who has a book nowadays? Like literally.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was doing. And and also like, social media, I was doing even that I was navigating, figuring it out. And I've used, like, to be fair, I've been on, like, I've had coaches, so I used Sean. She was great. Like, I did her mastermind, so I did that, and then I had Gajinda as well at the beginning.
But you had a support. You reached out to different support networks that are readily available.
I did.
Like, I'm a big promoter that if you have support networks, forums, groups that you could be a part of, that's going to help you and 100%. Enable you to be the best version of yourself, or help you in the business or the the thing, the activity you want to do, then reach out.
Oh, 100%. And there were so many amazing women, even like yourself, who just like, you know, supported so much. Like even people who didn't know me, they were just so sweet. Like there's a small little network of women, most of the mothers, entrepreneurs who have just supported me so much. And it's been so many, like they'll come to Nashtaa, show their support. It's been so nice. And that's been massive for me. And I actually hope I try and do the same as well. You know, I try and bring in small businesses like to work with me. You know, I work with so many people with so different many things.
Let's talk about some of the events that you've held at Nashtaa, because you've done some crazy things at Nashtaa. I know that you recently did an influencer event where you had tons of influencers coming. How was that? It must have been really fun.
It was really fun. I got sillily drunk.
As you
do.
It
was amazing. But it was so good. It was just a kind of celebration as well. And it was kind of like a, you know, I wanted to try something different. And I'd met a lot of people, a lot of these influencers I'd met on my journey through like doing events or catering, because we ventured out into that now. So, and a lot of them on a personal level, like know me well now. And they were happy to like come along and just support, which was really sweet. And I wanted to like, you know, I was promoting my afternoon tea and my dinner, my brunch and stuff. And it was just so nice that they could come and support. And they were so like genuine and supportive that it was really nice. And it was such an amazing event. And, you know, like it was a really successful event. And now I hold a lot of like brunches like that, bottomless brunches. I do it quite regularly.
I can't wait to go to one of your bottomless brunches.
Next on 10th of June.
Literally 10th of June. Oh my God. 10th of June. Oh, my kid's birthday. But no, I definitely want to try it. I've always wanted to try that. And I think the food is going to be amazing. And you do, you do bottomless beers and
Prosecco. Yeah.
That's it.
Bottomless.
Sold. Bottomless.
Yeah, no, it's been really good, and like I love trying the different things. I've got so many ideas. Literally, like, you know, a lot of people, I like, you know, I've had this where, you know, I'm setting a trend and other people are following, which is amazing. It's so good. It's a compliment to me. And I'm so focused on my own ideas that I just carry on doing what I'm doing. And I love it. I still love it. I thrive on that, you know, coming up with new ideas and doing new things. You know, and sometimes you do get bogged down in your everyday life. Like it is hard. It's not easy, and it's not easy to even stay on top of your A game as well. You know, I have so many days when I'm just like, oh my God, I've done nothing today, or I've just procrastinated, or you know, then the kids, or you just feel crap. Really,
we've all had those days,
and it is hard to just maintain that level of, you know, and you know, your presence on Instagram as well, and all that kind of stuff. It is really tough.
It's a big juggling act, isn't it?
It is massive, and you know, it's just getting through that, and you know, actually taking a step back and saying, you know what, actually, I've done all right up to this point, like, you know, and I think that's a big thing which a lot of us don't do. We don't actually take a step back and say, well, how far have I come from where I was? How far have I come? And I've not only come like personally, like massive, like I've come on a massive journey myself, but also like with the business and everything, like, you know, it's still kind of, I feel a bit of imposter syndrome, I think it's called. I feel still like, is that really, did I do that? Like, you know, obviously it took an army, don't get me wrong. I didn't do it myself, but you know, it's still a bit like surreal that oh my God, I've got this far.
But did you know Beyonce suffers from imposter syndrome? Honey, if Beyonce can suffer from, yes, she does.
God.
There's so many interviews that I've seen where you would think, how this person, they've won these many awards, they've done this, they've done that, how do they feel like that? I think whenever we're doing something for the first time, or something that kind of pushes us to our edge a little bit, we're always going to feel like that.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
When you do feel like that, do you do something to kind of pull yourself back?
Yeah, I do. I try and I think the meditation's a massive thing. Sometimes I have an extra therapy session or something, or you know when you just need someone to talk to, because it's getting a lot. You get a lot of pressure, because you have a lot of pressure. I have a lot of pressure. You know, it is hard to maintain everything. And
reach out for those tools that are readily available.
Exactly.
That's going to help you along the way. A lot of people, sometimes I get into that where I'm like, I don't need anyone, I don't need anything, I'm okay. And then 2 minutes later I'm like, what do I do?
Like just having friends.
Having a support network.
100%. And like even just fellow like mum entrepreneurs like you, like you know, people like you, like I can reach out to you, I know that. And you know, just having that support of like, oh my God, this is what's happening. And you're like, yeah, I know, I've been through that. Or you know, it just helps to have some sort of sounding board.
Yeah, definitely.
I think because sometimes people in your own life don't understand what you're going through unless you have similar sort of like a business and you're a mum and you got a lot of pressures. Like, people don't always get it, and they just think, oh, she's moaning, she's got such a big business, she's got an easy life, she doesn't really have to like go in every day. But actually, that's not the truth, you know. And so
I think that's when you know you're good at what you do, when you can make people believe that what you do is nothing.
Yeah, true.
That's when you know you're good at your job, that you got the ability to make people believe that, yeah, you are just that, you know, Range Rover mum, and, you know, you're chilling and you got all your stuff together, when really inside you're like dying.
Yeah, it's true. Oh God, yeah. But
I want to go back a little bit and pick up on something you said. I think it's really important for women in business, and especially women that are running their own business. The fear, I don't know if I should say fear, but the thing of taking when someone copies you as a compliment. Because I think that happens a lot. Like, I know that's happened with me personally in my personal business. I know it's happened with you and loads of other women that I speak to. That what's it like to be a woman in business, and more than anything in the food industry?
So in terms for so basically, I think with me, because I haven't got, I don't know, food experience, people don't they at the beginning they didn't really respect what I was doing.
Yeah.
So it's more like, oh, what does she know? Like, you know, she's come from corporate and you know, she hasn't really got a clue. So for me, it was more, in a way, I did have to prove myself as well.
Yeah.
And because a lot of my menu and my dishes come from home stuff, it's very home based. But that was my whole concept. So it wasn't supposed to be Michelin starred or, you know, this fancy stuff, or I have to be an amazing chef. It was always for the everyday person coming, and they can enjoy food they'd get at home, but they don't have to cook it. You know, they can eat it outside.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of, for me, that was the concept.
Right.
And it wasn't about, and I'll be honest, I wasn't about, oh my God, I have to have this many people, or even the followers and the Instagram and everything. I didn't even expect, you know, it was just more for mums in my local area to have somewhere to go and enjoy themselves, you know, and have something pretty to look at.
Totally different concept.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And it was just because as a mum, that lacked in our area, and I felt it. I would have to go to London or Windsor if I want to go somewhere nice, and then you're rushing back for the kids, and it was just too much. And that's why I wanted to create that. And so from the beginning, from the outset, I didn't look at anybody, and I didn't even, it was just my own thing. And I think that's where, when I had, so I had a first male chef, and he didn't respect me. He was older, he was Asian. And I think me being a woman, me being younger, he was just like, well, no, you don't know what you're doing. That's not right. I was like, no, this is how I want it. This is what I want. I don't want any extra stuff. It has to be like homemade taste.
Yes.
This is how I want it. So I'd have to physically show him what to do. I physically showed him, but he'd still change stuff and do other stuff. And it was
I can only imagine what those conversations were like in the kitchen, because the kitchen is a heated environment already. Excuse the pun.
Oh yeah, we'd have frying pans being thrown around. And
no. Oh my God.
Tantrums and everything. Oh,
but then, like, how do you manage that?
I think it was a learning curve for me as well. I've always, because my corporate experience has been project management.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of managing stuff, I was already a little bit experienced. I knew how to, and I was quite good with people. So I kind of was able to kind of navigate it my way. But what I did do is train someone who was not experienced at all, wasn't a chef.
Managing staff, like, that's hard. What's your experience been like?
So it's been one of my toughest challenges, to be honest, managing staff and having staff, because I think what it is with my kind of restaurant type, obviously I work with a lot of Indian people, and the kind of mindset is different. So when you, like, even customer service and things like that, you have to keep reiterating how you want it. And a lot of people from this country, obviously, they find it challenging when, you know, there's certain etiquettes we know, right, as British people,
of course,
how it should be. And Indian people don't know that, you know, which is fine. They get trained, but then you have to keep on doing it. And that's where I found it difficult.
Right.
Because, like, you'd think to explain to someone one thing, they'd get it, right? And then you keep doing it. So that's where I found a lot of challenges with the customer service side of it on the floor. And then in terms of, like, say, kitchen and stuff like that, it was more, because you need quick people as well. It's a busy environment. You need people who are going to be with it, quick, and understand what's going on, right? And I think that's where, so I've had a lot of people come and go. I have had a core team, which is, to be fair, has stayed with me for like 2 years.
Wow.
there's a few people, and one of the girls in the kitchen is the one I've trained, and she had no experience at all, never worked in a restaurant, nothing. She was a housewife.
Wow.
And she was just literally a housewife from India, and she has done amazing. Like, literally, she has done amazing. And I've trained her. She does everything. She cooks the food and everything. And, you know, she's been with me from day one. Literally.
I think when you have a core team and when you finally find staff that got you, and they don't see this as a paycheck, they see this as if they're part of this story.
They feel family.
They feel like family, right? It puts you at ease.
100%.
You know, and it helps with how you can handle your whole empire, be it your empire at work, your empire at home, because I think a lot of people don't realize that when you are starting a business, or even when you're doing a 9 to 5, we have certain strains, be it the strains can fall through with your kids. I know that I suffer with that a lot, where I'm constantly suffering with mum guilt. Oh my God, I had to put my kids in after school club today. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the 4th day in the row, you know? And sometimes I have strains with my partner where he wants certain things from me and I just can't deliver them. Or as, you know, being a daughter-in-law or whatever, friendships. My friends don't see me anymore. They don't even bother to ask me anymore, do you want to come out? Because they know I'm like, I can't, I'm working on the weekend, or I'm doing this. Bless them. I
was at that point as well, to be fair.
Bless them, they still understand, they get it. But for how long? You know, we're being pushed and pulled. Do you feel like that? Is there any relationships in your life where you feel like, you know what, since I've started this, it's put a little bit of strain?
Yeah, 100%. And it's probably with every single relationship, because the closest one is probably at home, like, you know, is with my partner, with your husband, because obviously I'm out there working all the time, and what has had to happen is he's had to taken a step back from his own career, his own dreams and aspirations, to put mine forward, which, you know, kudos to him for doing that. And I appreciate that so much. And for those first 9 months, whatever, he was also supporting me there, but also helping with the kids and stuff. And then it does put a strain in a relationship, because what it is you're so focused on following your dreams and passions, and it isn't just for you, it is for your family. You're doing it for them, right? And if you've got an opportunity and it's doing well and you just want to grow it, sometimes the other person on the receiving end doesn't understand that, because they're just seeing less of you, they're getting less of you, and they don't get it. And that's including friends as well. You know, so like with some of my friends, like, they don't even talk to me anymore. Like, they just stopped talking to me. So some people just stopped contacting me, even some family members.
I think it's that fear of abandonment. Like, I think with our partners, like putting friends to a side, the reason why I focus more on partners is because we're with them day and night, right? They've seen a certain side of you. They've been with you. Now, all of a sudden, you're evolving, you're changing. That's hard.
Yeah, that is hard. And I think with me, that's been a massive... I've changed massively, and everyone has noticed that. And that's why I've lost a lot of people in my life as well. And I think... unless people, especially with your partner, like you said, is the evolving of... So I was just at home with the kids. You know, I was always working corporate, but I took a big gap when I had my first 2 children. Then I started again when my daughter turned 1 or 2, can't remember, and then I had my third. And so I was very much a homemaker at home. I was constantly home. I didn't really have a social life, to be honest, and I didn't really go out much. And I was just more kind of... That was me. And I think with my partner, he was happy with that, and we just had our own little bubble, right? And then suddenly the bubble's grown to like all these other people, a whole team. Then I've got all this social network, and I've got all this like, you know, social media network now. And he's kind of like, oh, what's going on here? And obviously his network and his group has stayed the same. Me, it's expanded. So it's tough for them seeing that, and the change in me as well, because the healing I've done, I'm not that kind of like Bajari broken person now, like, you know what I mean?
You feel stronger. You know yourself better.
I'm confident, and I am different, and I know what I want, and I know what I don't want, and what I like and what I don't like, and I'm a bit more vocal now, and I'm kind of more, you know, sure about myself. So I think that's hard for the other person, because it's a totally different person to who you are.
Exactly.
You know, and
I think sometimes, like, when partners in particular, why I'm going to stick on that, because I'm going to share a little story about me and my partner, but when you're evolving and your partner is not, it's them shining a light on themselves, thinking, oh wow, they're moving, they're evolving, they're doing something, and I'm not. And then that's a whole different ball game,
Yeah.
you know, because now all of a sudden it's gone from fear of abandonment to all of a sudden that person's looking at themselves and they're doing comparing, and that's when it gets dangerous.
Yes.
Because, and then for us, when we are you're running your cafe, you have your kids, you're managing your Instagram, you're doing so much. Now all of a sudden we have to become a little bit of a therapist to our other half. And that's difficult.
That is hard, yeah.
Because you want to be able to lean on your partner and say, yo, I'm going through this. I need your help with this. And you can't. No. And that's difficult. And that's where it gets a bit rocky. And the reason why I say all of this is because I've been there. I've been there. And for me, it was I was on the receiving end when my partner was evolving. It's actually a really funny story because my husband went on a fruit diet. He went on a fruit diet. He lost all this weight. He looked 20 years younger. And there's me. And I've always had issues with my weight, especially when I had kids. And I've always never felt confident. And now there's this guy and he's looking young and trim and he's feeling himself. And I can tell he's feeling himself. His clothes have changed and he's buying all like these young guy clothes. And, you know, the colognes come out. I'm thinking, hey, what's going on here? And I'm looking at myself and, you know, I've just had these 2 kids and I've got my mum pouch and all the stretch marks and I've had all those fears. Yeah. But then I had to realize that, hold on a minute, I think I was more angry with myself. It wasn't more about him. It was more about me.
That's it, yeah.
It was that fact that, he loves himself enough to say that I want to change and why don't I feel like that about me? That actually the anger isn't the fact that he's changed. The anger is that, why am I not changing? Yeah. And then that's when I started to work on myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but even with like, the thing with me is it's also what's helped me, I think, is that network we've had of like supportive women around us. And I feel like men don't have that. Like, it's so sad and unfortunate, but we are so lucky that we have that. And everyone's so supportive and they tell you about like, there's so many amazing women, entrepreneurs who do things like, you know, like I said, like Chintal with the Healing Circle and then like Gajinda's there. But there's so many people who support female business owners, but there's no one really there for men. And I think where it's helped me is leaning on these people to kind of work on myself and help myself. But it's like, well, where are they going to get the people from? Exactly. You know, so I think that's where it's hard as well because there isn't anything really for guys like that.
Unless there is. Look, if there is something out there
that we don't know about.
And we don't know about, I'm putting it out to you guys. Drop it in the comments, you know, or send me a DM. Let me know what is available if you're running something out there because we want to support the males in our life, 100%, right? Yeah, and in our society. And if there's things out there, like I'd love to, you know, point my husband in the right direction, you know. But I think that's what it's about, you know, having that level of support, having that support network. We are quite lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you know, they can't. But to be honest with you, we're vocal. We'll say this is what our needs are. They're not. Yeah. Like from my experience, my husband, he internalizes everything. Yeah,
I think mine does as well. I think that is another cultural thing as well.
Yes.
Because you're not supposed to, like, boys are not supposed to say anything. They're not supposed to say how they feel. Yeah. They're not supposed to cry. They're not supposed to like let out their feelings. And that's what's been drummed into them. And another thing that's been drummed into them is that you're the provider. You're the one who's supposed to support your family. Your wife's supposed to be at home. Yeah. She's supposed to be cooking and cleaning and looking after the kids. And she's not supposed to be a big business owner and do all this stuff. You know, and that's literally been drummed into these guys as well. And it's not their fault. It's literally that intergenerational trauma that's come from their parents. Yeah. You know, like my husband's had it where his parents have commented on him that, why is Juslena doing everything? Why is she there? Why is it what? And he's like, well, that is her thing. It's fine. I'm there supporting, but but it's other people around you of that like generation. I keep saying it, but who kind of feed that into you and make you think, you know what, actually, am I doing something wrong? Like, should it be like this? This shouldn't be the way. But there's no way it should be. No. You know, it's a partnership, whichever way you look at it.
And you've got to do what works for you and your family the best, you know? Yeah. There's going to be seasons in our life where you're shining. There'll be seasons where he's shining. The kids are shining. And you just have to kind of evolve and go with the process. Yeah. I think the worst thing that we can do, and I think we do it a lot as a culture and society, is compare. Yeah. Oh, they have this and they're progressing with this. Stay in your own damn lane, man. Oh, my God. The energy that you're putting into looking at other people, focus that on yourself and progress.
That so much. Like with Nashtaa, we get that so much. Like, it's like staying in our lane. Please let me just do my thing. I'm in my lane and I'm carrying on. You know,
keep focused on yourself.
exactly.
Put that energy into yourself. You deserve
100%.
it.
And you get those people, like you said previously, about who watch you. They're watching you.
The watchers.
Yeah, they're always watching, and they're watching, and they're, you know, probably taking on what you're doing, and, you know, want to be in your lane with you, but they can't be in your lane.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, support me, or, you know, jog on.
Exactly. It is what it is. Like, you're either here for the ride or you're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and come with your authentic self, you know, be integral to yourself. You know, I think there's lots of backbiting and all the rest of it. But you, like I said to you before, put a protective bubble over you and do your own thing.
Yeah. That's what
it's been amazing having you on the couch. You know, I think a lot of people are going to take away so much from this conversation. I think people are going to see you in a different light. You know, we can be bosses in our lives, right?
Yeah.
But we have to be real to ourselves and share that the concerns and the insecurities. I think that's really important. That's something I really want to do. I think out there we're forced to pretend we are this shiny object, and we have everything going for ourselves, and we know it all, but we don't.
Yeah, there's a journey that's got that person to that point.
Exactly.
You know? And there's a lot behind that smile and that shiny object which people don't realize.
They don't realize. Yeah. I always like to end my episode with my final question. Yeah. So my final question to you, Juslena, is, and it's in theme with the whole pursuing your passions, which I'm all about at the moment. Juslena, are you pursuing your passion and your dreams? If so, what is it? It might be something that's totally different to Nashtaa, or it might be Nashtaa. And if you aren't, why not?
So for me, the passion of the food is there, and it's always been there, and it's always going to be there. Of feeding people, I'm a feeder. Yeah. I love it when people eat my food and they're happy and they love it. That gives me the biggest joy. Yeah. But another passion I do have, which is close to my heart, is about the body image and, you know, showcasing to people what, you know, real women are. Yeah. Because I feel there's not enough, and I speak to so many, like, even like clothing designers and things like that. Why are you not showcasing real women?
Exactly.
Like, the average size in the UK is size 16. Yeah. Like, why are people just, and every single designer you see is got this stick thin models with the, you know, the skinny outfits on, and you're like, it's really like, can I wear that? No, it doesn't look like I can. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's 100%. It's changing that narrative, and it's not just about the way, like, the body. It's also like a lot of colorism. There's so much that, you know, in our, like, society, but even in the wider society, not just ours, like our Asians, but even just mainstream. It's just not enough.
It's not.
And I think I'm passionate about that because I've seen how many people it's impacted, and from doing that campaign of the Bold and Beautiful campaign, I've had so many people reach out to me and saying that there's not enough of this, or I can't buy outfits because of this, or, you know, my weight or my height or my whatever. And there's just not enough spoken about it and not enough done. So I want to be one of those people who makes those changes.
And advocate for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a massive passion for me as well.
Well, you know, I'm so looking forward to seeing you, you know, progress in that particular part of your journey. I think if there's anyone to do that, it's you, especially with all your experience. I think it's really important that the wisdom, the experience, the trauma has led you to this. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And you know what? Sometimes we look back at our lives and think, why did we go through this? Why? Because so you could be that person. And I'm all here for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I've had the best time. And thank you for coming on the Sabrina Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. And that's the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember to drop me a DM if you're interested in getting into the show. Instagram, _Sabrina Show. Hope to see you then.